Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to another episode of kevmacvideos True Stories. Let me give some shout outs real quick. Shout out to all the Mac kids and maniacs. Shout out to my regular subscribers. Shout out to Baby Smack. Shout out to the whole kevmacvideo family. Welcome to another episode, kevmacvideos True Stories.
I give a roll, you know what I'm saying? Running down the street in my city car. I hit front, back, side to side.
From my low, my jaw, the pimp, the hog.
Check it out.
Khakis low, sweatshirt and low soul.
That was it. I never stopped banging. I started banging hard, then I got so hard till it was a shame.
Welcome to another episode of kevmacvideos True Stories. Today I'm gonna take y'all back to 1982, 83-ish. This story right here is about a time I almost got shot. I got a whole lot of I almost got shot stories. But this particular time, man, it was crazy. It was weird. It was early in my life, and it was very unexpected. In the 82 or early 83. Now this is when rap is getting big. You know, everybody want to rap. You might have a hood rap. You might have a personal rap. You might be trying to sound like Grandmaster Flash or Run DMC, Curtis Blow or somebody like that, right? So a lot of dudes that was gangbanging was getting locked up. You know, juvenile hall, youth authority. This is when that was becoming very popular for our age group and just a little bit older than us. So on the south side of Slauson Avenue, that's where all the hardcore gang members, the Roller 60s, that was more known as they turf. North of Slauson, you had more squares than you had gang members, and so you didn't really have all that gang banging. You didn't have all the drive-by shootings and the wall bang. You didn't have a lot of that. You had a little bit of it. You didn't have a whole lot of it. Back then, you had like money-making weed slangers. You had pimp player hustlers. Like you had all these dudes claiming these little crews that they thought would turn out to be gangs, but wasn't big enough, wasn't fancy enough or attractive enough to gain any traction. But once you cross over to Slauson, that's where the gang members was at. That's where it was at. That's where the hoodlums, the thugs, the real hustlers was at, so to speak. Not that there wasn't no real hustlers on our side of Slauson, but we wasn't known for that. Like we had some real dudes come up off our side of Slauson, either further up the hill, but where it was at was cross Slauson, and then once you cross West Boulevard, you get to BG, you cross Crenshaw, you get to the Electric Avenue, Dime Avenue, you know, then you go further on down into the hood, and then you cross Arlington into the hood. So the hood was real big, real vicious, had a lot of numbers back then. So if you wasn't on the south side of Slauson, like you wasn't really doing nothing. We would go in Crazy Boy's backyard or the Peters' backyard and play basketball. You know, this is where I came to get in trouble when I broke in houses, you know, when I broke in cars. Big Crazy Boy lived on 59th. And we used to go over to his house. He had this big trampoline in his backyard. So we would get on the trampoline and jump. Them dudes could do flips, somersaults. They could flip off the trampoline onto the ground. Man, I couldn't do none of that. I get on the trampoline, man. I'm jumping up and down like a pogo stick. Like, that's all I could do was see how high I could jump. So anyhow, we're on the south side of Slauson on 59th. A block from 60th Street. It's real dark over there. Back then, they didn't have a lot of street lights, and the trees were real big, and they reached from one side of the street to the other side of the street where they connected. So it was very dark and eerie, but it was also very comfortable because a lot of homies lived in that particular area. I'm talking about some gangbang, some didn't gangbang. Some went on to be posers. Some went on to be real estate realtors, you know what I mean? But this is during the school year. And it's late at night, And there's a house on each corner. There's 4 corners, house on each corner. The homie Steve lived in one corner house. And cat corner, Tony G, Clint Greenaway, who later became a member of the Rolling 60s. And then the other 2 houses, nobody banged in those houses. And the one particular house, it was a big old tree on the side of the house. And man, it was big. So you could sit up under there and it's real dark. The worst thing you have to worry about is something falling out the tree and hitting you in your head, which wasn't gonna hurt. Probably a leaf or something. So we standing on the corner. It's about 6 of us. But the later it gets, the smaller the circle gets. It's me, Clinton, Steve, Gary Burks, Lil Crazy Boy, and Ronnie Peters. So they out there rapping, they pop locking. I don't have no rhythm. I have absolutely no rhythm. And when the homies call me white boy, it make a whole lot of sense. I'll never get mad at being called white boy. I can't sing, rap, dance. I can't do none of that. So I'm just out there trying to get into the mood and listen and act like I have some type of rhythm, right? So they out there rapping, they busting rap. Little Crazy Boy, he had a cool little rap. He wasn't no rapper, but you know, he was cool, always rhythmatic. Used to get down on the turntables, the 1200s or 1600s, whatever the hell they was back then. But so they out there rapping. Tony G's rapping, he's decent, but his raps are funny. And the circle gets smaller and smaller. So I believe it's just me, Clinton, and Steve. It may have been more, but those are the names I remember. Clinton rests in peace. Steve is still around. And Clinton and them, they had a nice sized property on the corner house. And they built this like cement wall with metal rods in between each cement piece. And the bottom was cement. Brick, it was brick. And it was nice, it was very nice. It was something new in the neighborhood because back then over there wasn't no fences around houses. In fact, this might have been the only house in that whole area that fenced off their front yard. These dudes was Panamanian. So that may have something to do with their culture. Maybe Pops got tired of dudes walking across his grass, but anyway, he put up this fresh wall. And now we done walked across the street to Clinton's yard, and I'm sitting on the brick wall. So back in the day, there's this market on 60th and Alviso. And the Centinela Park families used to always come hit up on that wall. The Rolling 60s used to always hit up on that wall. So you would see some wall wars. You would see some wall banging, crossing each other out, and you would see the names. You have the V&Gs to the northeast border. You have the Harvard Park Brims to the east border, only western separates us. Then you have the A-Tray Gangsters, only western separates us, and then there's Florence. Then you have the Inglewood families, right across Florence. But up in the hill on the west part of the neighborhood, Centinela Park is our closest rival. 64th Street, the Inglewood divider, separates Centinela Park family from the Rolling 60s. And I remember, it was always One Punch and River Rat. There may have been another name or two, but those are the 2 names that stood out, and those are the 2 names that was usually hit up on the wall. Plus, River Rat was known to come through doing about 85 in a 25 mile per hour zone, busting on the homies. So his name was ringing. The homies knew to beware of this dude. I don't have that up close and personal beef with River Rat like some of the hardcore homies that hung on EG at the headquarters back then. So I don't know this dude, I just know of him. I know his name, I know his reputation, and I know what the homies say about him, and I see his graffiti and stuff. And so we done walked across the street from this dark house on a side street, and we go over to Clinton's house. And I'm sitting on the brick wall. This nice, fresh brick wall, man. It's probably about, because I'm a skinny dude at the time, so the piece of brick wall probably is enough to cover my whole body. So I'm sitting on a brick wall. And this car comes creeping up 60th Street with just his parking lights on. Remember, the streets are dark, so we don't really see who it is. And you ain't thinking nothing bad. I mean, we was just out there rapping and they trying to pop lock and shit, and we just talking. It's like a late Friday night or a late Saturday night during the school year. And this car creeps up and it's sounding creepy. Like the brakes is like squeaky. The shocks sound like they probably need to be fixed. Probably didn't have no cool motor mounts on the engine. But we ain't tripping. I think Steve Adams may have walked to the driver's side. Me and Clinton are on the passenger side. And the car pulls up, this brown Cadillac. And it's River Rat and one of his homies. And they get to dumping on me with a shotgun. Boom, boom, boom. He started busting so fast, I didn't have no time to think. My no rhythm ass did a backflip off the wall. So now I'm behind the cement wall. As he's still busting, I lay down to where the bottom of the cement wall is protecting me. And I remember he had like a little dip. The Greenaways had a little dip between the brick wall, the fence wall, and the grass. I guess because when they dug it up and planted the brick, they wanted to make sure that the fence fit well between the sidewalk and the front yard. So it's a little dip in there. My skinny ass get all up in the dip. And I'm wondering, like, are they gonna get out and come get me? Should I get up and run? So after like the third shot and the car's pulling off, I get up, make sure ain't nobody out the car and I'm all right. Everybody's all right. They didn't hit nothing. I don't even know if they hit the fence. They didn't even hit the house, a tree. They didn't hit shit. I don't know where all them buckshots went, but man, I was so lucky. I was so happy. I was like, man, this is crazy, man. Every time I seen River Rat name or One Punch name written on that wall, I would go cross it out after that. Today's lesson, man, you always got to be careful. No matter where you at and what you're doing, you can always get got on the streets of South Los Angeles. That's going to do it for this episode of KM True Stories. I want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Don't be afraid to leave a comment. I'm out of here. Much love. Salute.